Okay, so we're going to go to lunch in a few minutes, but I have somebody that's going to come up. I feel like she's the most visionary inventor that stepped on this stage, and she's going to talk about the practical work that she does and how it helps with firefighters, especially at Boston Fire Rescue. So I'm going to turn this stage over to Dr. Karen Panetta. She will also be speaking tomorrow, but we're going to give you a little teaser today. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. First of all, I'm an engineer. I might not look like one, so I'll take that as a positive. But you might be asking, what's an engineer doing before you? Well, my life changed a few years ago. I do technology, and it's been motivated mostly by what I see in social media or in the news. If you'll start my slides, please. So, next slide, please. So my life changed when a mother of a fallen firefighter came into my office, and she said, you know, there's got to be something. You do technology, you do AI, you do all this image processing. It could have saved my son's life, and she was right. He was missed in the search when he went down in a Boston back by fire. They missed finding him by 6 feet. So they had to live with themselves with that, and that's something that I don't think anybody should ever have to live with. What you people do is incredible, and you put yourself out there, and to me, if we can't protect the people that are protecting us, then all my degrees mean nothing. So I wanted to show you that we started coming up with a vision of what the future of the firefighter looked like. And right now, I talk to many firehouses and fire people, and everybody has different perspectives, and that's why I'm here today, is from you as well. But people think when you go out on a call that you're going to pull up blueprints and that you're going to be typing on your iPhones to get maps to these places, and you're bouncing around. And this tells me that there's a huge disconnect between what you do in real world and what people on my side, engineers or the people developing the technology, think. So one of the things that I do is image processing, and we can see through fire, we can see through smoke. That was one of my first applications. If you go to the next slide, please. And then the other thing I learned about is that when you go into an environment, you're going in blind. There's always somebody that goes in blind. And going up and down floors. They call that the Z problem. They said we can't tell which floor somebody's on, and trying to track them with those audible alarms, and some of your radio's melting. So I was looking at all these problems, and I said, I can definitely come up with something for this. So can you move to the next slide, please? So this is an example of something that I've been doing with LiDAR detectors that will do a dynamic map, and I have a demo in the next slide, if you want to go to the next slide. So this is my student walking through. And what you're going to see on the right, you can play the video, what you're going to see is it's dynamically mapping out the rooms. And when you see those sprays, that's telling you that there's a doorway or an opening. So as somebody's walking through, it can map out the environment, and it can find the windows and the easeways. And also on top of this, it would be able to communicate on the outside where the individual, where all your personnel are in the building. So move to the next slide, please. So this is an example of what we're going for. This is another example. When I talk to police chiefs and fire chiefs, they said, when our guys go in, I want to be able to see where they all are and be able to communicate to them or be able to tell them when to get out. And I've learned that a lot of you are insanely diehards that if you think there's somebody in that building, you're not leaving. So one of the things we also talked about was being able to track where everybody is, so the commander on the outside can tell where all the personnel are. But then also, if something gets too hot, I heard that, do you really have to take the helmet off and have your ears burned to tell that it's too hot? So being able to have haptic feedback that would tell the personnel, you really need to get out, that this is really bad. So you can move to the next slide. So the next one that we started looking at, just to show you some of the pieces that I've built together. On the left, the first column, you'll see these are original images. And on the right, you can see how I can enhance it. So one of the things I like to tell people is sensors see so much more information than we as human beings can perceive. So my job is taking all that sensor information and making it humanly perceptible, presenting to you only the information that can help you. So you can also see I do rain removal, smoke removal, and now I can do underwater because I learned from my fire and rescue folks that they have to go underwater to do rescues as well. So that's how I ventured into that as well. Next slide, please. So this is an example, you work in a lot of low-lit environments, and you don't have these big, huge cameras and lights to light up the place. And you've got so much equipment on you that I actually had somebody say, oh, they could use their cell phones. I can just see fire personnel going in with all that and trying to use their cell phones. Yeah, you're going to use your personal devices in these hot fires. So there's always a disconnect between what is good for the user, the intended end user, versus what the technology can do. So that's another example of our enhancements for low lighting. And I do this underwater as well. Next slide, please. And this is another example of some just other things that I'm doing, because I also see on television that you rescue deer. I love Bambi. We're at Disney. I love Bambi. So kudos to those of you that actually rescue animals as well. But if you'll play that video on the left, this came off the news. And I was shocked. This is a downtown Boston tunnel. And these are children. These are all kids riding bicycles on a major freeway, about to get killed. So I can also detect people, objects, and be able to find them and distinguish between bicycles and motorcycles using artificial intelligence. And you can go to the next slide. I've also done it for wildlife. So one of the things that I can do for wildlife is also be able to identify specific types of animals. So for population control, for poaching. And some of the things that I've done there include, I did have a false detection. I found a rhinoceros, but they were very excited that it wasn't an elephant because they didn't know they had rhinos there. But this is another example that, some of the things that are out there in firefighting today just give you these outlines if you're going to use them. And they're supposed to flash up on your helmet or in some visors. And I learned a lot about psychology, even though I'm not a psychologist, called cognitive load. I know that if I'm flashing stuff up at you, that you're either going to tear it off or you're not going to use it. So that's why, we've done a lot of studies to make sure that what we do is conducive to the end user. Next slide, please. So this is another example. You can play this video. So again, we want to be able to track what's going on in the scene of what's important. So, if there's a victim or something down, a child in a closet, and we could use thermal as well, and I can do multiple types of sensors, whether it be thermal, near infrared. Here's just RGB, red, green, blue. Next slide, please. You can go to the next one. So, this work has been done by over 45 students at Tufts University, and, we continue to work with fire personnel and first responders everywhere. We'll work with anywhere because we want to hear your stories and make sure that we're using is conducive to you. And we've got several prototypes. Our latest is using LiDAR. And we work a lot with the Boston Fire Department, who's been really a great partner in this. Next slide, please. So on behalf of myself, does anybody know who that is, by the way, in the middle? We're at NASA. Does anybody know who that is? He was the first man to walk on the moon. That's Neil Armstrong. And when I do outreach presentations, students tell me that's Louis Armstrong. Okay? He's another great man, but yes, not him. So I've had the opportunity to work with different communities all around the world, and I, on the bottom of my heart, want to thank you for having me here and thank you for what you do every day to serve your communities, to serve us, and you deserve everything that we can do as a technical community to support you and keep you just as safe as you keep us. Thank you.
Renewable energy and high heels. What do you think? So she's going to be back tomorrow with more incredible heels. That's what I hear. And she'll have more time to talk to you about all the amazing things that she's doing with imaging.
CommHIT.